Well, okay. Let's see what's going on here. Usually I sit down, I have something prepared to say on that front, and it's 4th of July. And it's 6/14, 7/4, 2026. In the information age, that's the current age that we live in. A lot of people don't value that mindset from that standpoint. But if you think about it, humanity, people have access to all information at the palm of their hands. Every, every, everything, everything, everything is on Google, right? Everything is on the internet, and there's a reason for that because we haven't had a tool like this in history up until this point in time. And on a generational basis, it's actually something interesting. The reason why communication platforms exist, sorry, I'm just moving the camera on, but the reason why communication platforms like this exist is that it's an actual tool for people to use. It's not only, you know, freedom of self-expression, you know, this, that, and the other. It's a tool to go forward in life, to document things, to have freedom of access to information. And it's also, it can be, you know, pretty interesting. You just look at it from the basis of what it truly is. But I sat down this morning and I thought I was going to do, I said to my computer, I said, hey, computer, we've been through a lot. You and my computer have been through so much together. You have no idea. I mean, last year I was homeless on 4th of July. This year I'm homeless on 4th of July. It's the same thing. It's been a whole year since then. And I've gone through so much. It's just kind of a marker. And that being said, it is the 4th of July, which it's a national holiday. But just off that basis, let's see what's going on here in the world. Oh my God, how bright it is. I want to know. Let's see what's going on in the world. I like this kind of thing. Yeah, it's warm in here. The story of where I'm at right now is that I'm someone helped me out and I'm staying here for like a couple days, but I can't, stay here indefinitely. I can't. I have to leave at some point. But anyways, I like to do a TikTok, like a TikTok activity. I really do. So figure it out. Let's see what's going on.
And just in case no one ever told you this, a friend who immediately turns into your enemy over a misunderstanding without even wanting to clear things.
I want to know. I want to know what goes on. What's going on? The other day I thought of this. The other day, like here's the choice of being a good or bad person, right? And it's Obi-Wan versus Anakin Skywalker. 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 It's Anakin Skywalker, and they're having a debate, right? And you think kind of like this is kind of current politics right now, except it's much worse because it's much more serious than you think it is. Anarchist, anarchist versus Obi-Wan. So I don't know. This scene in this movie gets me every time. I'm gonna make my face smaller.
Ain't no harm in wandering.
You were the chosen one.
There's a bounty of fresh produce delivered daily for the taking. I'm smelling them because they're so fresh.
Something new in every aisle. It's an Aldi thing.
Yes.
Now that Coursera Plus is 40% off, it's time to go after your goals. With over 10,000 programs from IBM,
Oh, yeah. I love affordable groceries and push popsicles. later I'm gonna be eating a push popsicle. What do you call a push popsicle? What do you call it? You know what I'm talking about? The frozen ice in the little cylinder tube. I call it cylinder ice distribution tube mechanism. Flavored flavored frozen ice cylinder plastic tube mechanism.
You will not take it from me!
You will not take it from me.
Your anger and your lust for power have already done that.
But the thing is, you know what? I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get this tube mechanism.
You have allowed this Dark Lord to twist your mind until now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan. I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
You will try.
Anyways, yeah, Anakin Skywalker in the movie, he goes to the dark side, but I think it's just because he like gets really jealous. He has a baby with Padme and doesn't like that Obi-Wan spends times with her.
You will not take it from me!
Your anger and your lust for power have already done that. You have allowed this Dark Lord to twist your mind until now you have become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Don't lecture me, Obi-Wan. I see through the lies of the Jedi. I do not fear the dark side as you do. I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
But like I said, oh my god, I'm Brentford. But like I said, this is kind of current politics, right? I mean, like, you can understand how people feel. I'm a Democrat. I'm more like Obi-Wan.
You will try.
I know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so like I said, this was on my mind, and you can imagine me just like pulling my phone out as a homeless man. Like I'm literally sleeping on the ground. You have no idea. And I said this before, but I lack the three basic standards of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And it's been like that for way too long, right? Which is food, water, shelter. So I'm always striving for food, water, shelter. So the person that let me stay here for a couple days, so nice. You have no idea. that being said, I mean, I do I do writing, academic writing, and pushing past that feeling is also, you know, education in and of itself because I can speak on those issues if I'd like to. I can speak up just through personal experience and the way that I am with academics. I can speak on those issues now. I mean, even from a different place of credibility. So, I mean, I try to push past that, everything's a process of moving and letting go of the feeling of being stifled by environment in a lot of ways. And I've always felt that way. Today I went and visited my old house, my first home, and I don't know, it's it's about 10 miles away from here. I went on a bike ride. I just sat there for a minute and took pictures of it. It looks exactly the same as it did when I was 5 years old. And I don't know, something about it. Well, what's interesting about this movie, normally games don't have, normally movies don't have good video games other than Kingdom Hearts, like Disney Channel and stuff. But this movie had a really good video game attached to it. It was on the PlayStation 2. It was before, it was after Star Wars Battlefront, but it kind of incorporated elements of both. But this was the story of it, and it came in a two disc set. And the ending for it is so good, too. You just have no idea. And for the PlayStation 2, I mean, it had decent graphics. I'm gonna be honest with you. But right now, sitting in the garage of someone who let me stay in their garage. It's like off to the side. So I don't know how to talk to them and stuff. But other than that, I mean, dun, 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 dun. Another good moment in Star Wars is when the battle droids, they say Roger, Roger. When the battle droids say Roger, 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 we'll be over here. Roger, Roger. I don't know. Try it.
Turn up the heat with Culver's new jalapeno jack pub burger and chicken sandwich.
Roger, Roger. We'll be over here. Send in the droids.
Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger,
Roger,
Roger.
Roger. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger. Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Roger, Roger.
Or when R2D2 lights these two drawers on fire. I'm like a Star Wars. I'm like, I'm not a Star Wars nerd because I prefer Indiana Jones for like a film, but Star Wars stands the test of time. They're both Lucasfilms, right? But I just feel like Star Wars stands the test of time just in a lot of ways, just for an idea and premise of space, and also the fact that there's so many illicit artistic devices in it, like the Wilhelm scream, which is before Star Wars, but the Wilhelm scream, the whole Roger Roger thing, the way that the music is so easily recognizable. Those are ideas not only for just that movie, but in the way that other things are made too. So I just think that's very interesting. The whole, and I was having this discussion earlier. Coca-Cola and Campbell's soup have the same packaging, and I'll pull it up in a sec, but Coca-Cola and Campbell's soup have the same packaging for a reasoning, and I'll talk about it in a sec. But
R2, do you hear me? R2, we need to be going up, not down.
Hey, you! You stupid little astro droid.
my eyes. Did you hear him? This is also why Nuclear Throne eyes from Nuclear Throne is the color that he is. Is that interesting? It's a little point and click shooter game. It's one of my favorites. But this is the reason for the character. He's an alien.
Hear me? R2, we need to be going up, not down.
Hey, you! You stupid little astro droid.
My eyes. But here's the idea and premise that I'm talking about. In the same way these two things sort of match up, Coca-Cola and Campbell's soup have the same packaging, right? And it's because during the time period, mass production and everything else was illicit in manufacturing, and they were firm ideas. So to reinstitute that consumer need and basis of thinking was to also have a presence in that way that you can easily recognize it throughout history. It's easily recognizable, people know about it, and they trust it. Because not only that, everything is love, right? And this is an American premise that happened after World War II. But you can see even NASA is the same. NASA has the same logo as Coca-Cola. And this is because these things actually work, right? They're made that way for a reason. They're designed, and the functional thinking is that their ideas not only transferable, but also in the mindset of someone who can recognize it, someone who knows the art, and also as a premise, it's also an idea to explore for certain things, right? What really bothers me at the end of the day, and I'll pull up McDonald's, McDoglands, McDonald's, McDoomsday, McDonald's cheeseburger, okay? McDonald's cheeseburger. And I also want to make sure this is working too, because you can't hear any of the audio of the episode. So, 1 second. Last time I tried to explain Salvador Dali, and there was no audio. I still have to do that, but just make sure you can hear it.
These are some things that people might find weird about me. One, I don't have Netflix or Hulu, and I've never bought a TV for my place just because.
Girl, I'm just seeing if this audio works here. Okay, it doesn't want to maybe check it on the phone. That might work better. Phone machine, phone machine, tell me, phone machine, what the hell is going on? Phone machine, can't see me in the phone machine. I have to know if the audio works. This is listed as Pokemon Go. Kind of works for me.
I don't watch like TV shows or anything like that. Two, I don't drink.
I'm over here streaming ancient facts and artifacts.
Have committed to completely being sober, and honestly, I've been sober.
Why is she talking?
You know that bingo scam in Better Call?
Why is she talking to him?
It's because she's luring him into talk.
I gotta know. Hey, come on, stream. Show me the money. Well, once again, I do know what I'm talking about. I do academic research, so just off of that
You know that bingo?
Guys,
you should know a lot of people really would dislike someone who actually knows what they're talking about. So oftentimes I do run into complications with this here computer, but I don't blame the computer for it. It's whoever's still there watching all the time. And they sure do have a problem. But I can't check the audio. We'll just hope it works. Right? It should. It's not muted down on desktop audio, so. But that being said, I'm gonna hide this and go back to what I was talking about. Hidden. It's hidden. There we go. Anyways, like I said, McDonald's cheeseburgers. Do you see the color of this bun? See the color of the bun? Okay, now I know it's bread, right? I know it's bread and this is food, and you can't compare, a carcinogen to actual food, right? Because McDonald's is good. McDonald's is a good food, okay? As long as you don't eat too much of it, as long as you're not, as long as you're regularly exercising and it's an every once in a while thing, because a lot of people say, "Whoa, what do? You just eat McDonald's all the time, haha, fatty fat, fat." Like, it's not what it is. A healthy mindset and a balanced diet has multiple things, right? But McDonald's as a whole, as a consumer mechanism, started from the same reasoning that Coca-Cola and Campbell's Soup have the same packaging. That's why you see McDonald's associated with Coca-Cola, because it's a food group, even. It's a fast food location. One of the largest industries in the world is McDonald's. Food distributors off of that basis. So if you understand that, here's one thing that bothers me about it, but I don't think they manufactured it this way. It just ended up being this way because it's bread. But a McDonald's cheeseburger has the same yellow filter color of a cigarette. This has bothered me since I was very, very young. This is bothering me. I just will never know, right? If this is truly how history needs to match up in some way. But for some reason, it's the same color, right? Same color. So whenever I'm eating a cheeseburger, I'm just sitting there like, is this hurting me or something? You know, there are other things throughout history that match up that are a bit interesting. But if you think of mass production, that is one of those premises. Although I do think that McDonald's has come a long way in their menu. To be honest with you, I'm pushing McDonald's for a veggie option, veggie burger. I think that would be such a good addition to their menu, and then it would be well rounded just for everything. You can even get a veggie burger at McDonald's, right? Sometimes they do poutine, other times they have things from different countries and stuff, but I think a veggie burger is strong suit. See what's going on here in the world. And I'll talk about other things later, but I just kind of want to watch TikTok right now. So it's not how I get my primary news, but I want to see what's going on in the world, you know? I gotta know. I'm also going to put on my cardigan.
Not nice. They were shoving, they were trying to like take.
But I have been running into complications with this computer. I'm so tired of it not working correctly. I'm gonna be honest with you. Called the cops a few times. And then found out it was the cops doing it to me. So that's an issue. I'm just gonna need
And
to
just in case.
Hey! This is how I'm using AI to learn sign language. So last year I started building an ASL learning app and got the.
You don't listen, when you like think of you're filing like a federal offense, right? You ask the cops to do something that they're supposed to do, they're obligated to do, and it's a part of their contract, and then they just like they don't do it, you know? So then the whole issue of now I have to call the DOJ, I have to call the Department of Internal Affairs over it. I have to do so many things because this computer was accessed by someone else that wasn't me. And they stayed there for much too long. So that is something that's actually happening too. But, you know.
And just.
Happy 4th of July, right? It is a celebration, right?
Shut up when I'm speaking!
No, so shut the fuck up.
And you know, people would expect a young person to be much less informed over those topics, but I really don't like when people think that they can do whatever they'd like to whomever they'd like to. I'm going to be honest with you. That's what those laws exist for. So, that's my 2 cents on that. Let's see what's going on TikTok.
My last act as the yearning final boss, I spent the past 2 months making this website, no AI. I just wanted to learn myself so I could distract myself from the yearning. And it's this website where you basically type in text and you're able to tear the text.
See what just happened? What's that supposed to happen? The person will just sit there and make complications for me time and time again. It's not how the website runs.
My last act as the yearning final boss, I spent the past 2 months.
I pay billions of dollars in taxes, and it's a perfect.
A former security.
But other than that, I mean, the former portion of thinking is how the world can be stifling, and in that sense, even monetary access can change the perception even that you have of the world just off of the basis of the way that people treat one another. So I'm the type of person to see past that and even grow past that in some shape or form. So I don't know, really been dealing with that kind of thought too. That night paint frequently. Completely single too. 27. Being single in 27 is sort of weird, right? Should be thinking about like children at this point in time.
One of my son's closest friends, his parents are together but not.
Want to see the sunset with me? Yeah, sure.
But I'm not. You know what I mean? That might be a take. I have my own plans. You know, I'm like a planner. I'm someone who plans something out. I have like a life plan and it was thrown off course. That type of thing. So right about now, I, should have been in a different place at this point in time.
Steven, do you need help packing?
No, it's just I'm leaving you with my ukulele.
Steven, that's very thoughtful of you.
Pearl, it's okay to be sad that I'm leaving.
But Steven, it's
3 ways to know that your woman's being sneaky. Listen to my words on this, and if you need help breaking toxic patterns, my link is in my bio.
What's your cutoff?
My name is
Like, if I would tell you, while we're scrolling through TikTok waiting for the computer to load, just off of that frame of thinking, I mean, I was strangled in a store, assaulted, a whole bunch of other things that happened to me before that. A litany of lawsuits could have been filed. You don't even get it. And now it's just, in the
When Mr. Hubbard opens,
it's in the process of actually happening now.
Because you have
all of the lawsuits and everything else. So
what are you into?
Dean, I really need to pee.
Right now in the pool?
somebody
just fleeced.
that, and I don't mean to really point it out, but if you're knowledgeable enough, you know how to write and format things, you are your own attorney. I'd say do your own legal work these days, right?
One thing that kind of freaks
My standards seem a bit higher even than even the attorney's work, which is very interesting. I ran into that too, where my standards for writing and documentation and everything just ended up being higher. How does that even that's your job though, you know? But I'll just do it for you at the end of the day. Best advice I can give. That being said, the whole computer and internet nonsense that they try to pull, it's really not off the basis of the internet. It's your rights as a person.
Getting sponsorships for your event is a lot.
Don't, because this is real life. You know what I mean? Even if you're on the computer, this is real life. This is not a movie, it's not a TV show, and it's not a video game. It's real life, right? So maintain that frame of thinking because some people can just be weird. Some people think life is a simulation. They can do, whenever it is that they want to. They can.
Hi, I'm 5'2".
Don't let someone tell you they can do that.
Good, yes.
Come on. What interesting videos. It is suggesting women. What's going on here? Do you want to see my TikTok? Go watch my TikTok. Suggesting videos of women. I came here for cat videos. I don't even know. Right. I don't even feel that way very often. What the hell, TikTok?
My thing is, if you perceive sleeping with a woman.
Please don't have your hair all in it.
Yeah, don't get your hair.
Hello?
Do not get your hair in freaking pasta.
How are you? Good, yeah. So you're taking care of them today? Yeah. Okay, then get for you.
Also, I want to know if there was a Wall-E 2. Did Pixar make a Wall-E 2? There is no official Wall-E 2. Okay, Pixar. Well, you need to make Wall-E 2.
Parmesan, brownish bread, eaten or takeaway?
And I'll wait. I'll be the one waiting for Wall-E 2.
Yep, brown.
Oh,
I don't know.
And Jesus will ask,
you make Wall-E 2, and you make a charitable foundation. Because everyone will want to see Wall-E 2, and you can do something with that. And it will be cool. And I guarantee you, and if you need me to run the NGO, the non-governmental organization, that also has IGO portions of it in it, I will do that too.
If women stop sleeping with.
As long as Wall-E is involved, I love Wall-E. No dialogue in the entire Wall-E movie, by the way. Still a masterpiece. Still a masterpiece. How is that possible, you say? Because we can perceive things differently.
Who do you think you are?
Just
You're tweeting out the F word on Easter morning?
visual stimulus.
What do you guys think? I got a new fit. Never.
I've been single for so long that I am.
Visual stimulus. We are learning at all times.
Oh, is this not the one that hurts? I think he's just chill about it. If it doesn't hurt, then there's not enough.
People still think that misandry and misogyny are equal. Men.
You're not supposed to do that, by the way, with peroxide. You're supposed to dab it intermittently, not just pour it on there. That's not okay. I can send IV, give you fluids, do the crash pads. I can speak in 3 different languages, ASL, Spanish, and English. I'm working on the 4th. I can resuscitate you, do CPR. I know seizure protocol, crash protocol. I can draw blood. I can deliver a baby as well. Those are all the medical things you need to know how to do, you know, without a doctor. Is there a doctor in the room? No, but I know how to do those, right? Wow, see now we're learning. I mean that for the most part, I have family that works in a hospital, so it's good to know that kind of stuff.
Tony Hinchcliffe.
That in my preferred field of study, actually academically, is psychology. So pressing science is social theory these days. But what do you call a push popsicle? Is it a cylinder plastic ice distribution device? Mechanism?
If it's here.
Or is it just a frozen tree? I don't know. Alright. That's like calling a water a kvasse. Calling just a water a Voss water. You know, me and my friend were drinking the Voss water. And she came in. Hate people like that. Just give me my breakfast sandwich. I don't need you looking at me in the morning. I want my egg sandwich. Come on, TikTok, what the hell? I don't need you looking at me in the morning. I play piano too, you wanna hear? It's 4th of July, whatever. Right, whatever. Start raining? I gotta know. And also I need to go and get some food eventually. Waiting, waiting, piano. See what I mean by this? This is not supposed to happen. Maybe that's not the correct one. Here. There is a better song that I made. I think this was the one. Yes, it's this one. This one was very good. I made this song, and it's because I play piano. Nobody wrote this, and it was my song that I wrote. So, that's not so snazzy. Oh, wait for it to play. Sour Patch Kid. See how it doesn't want to play the entire way through? That's someone else doing that. Because it's a disgusting human being sitting there messing with the computer. Just wanted to point that out. But I could also sing. I used all of the production equipment producers can. I write academically. I paint. But I took up piano at a very young age. See, that's someone else doing that. Again, really dislike that. No, it's another person. I won't even let the piano song play that I wrote myself. See?
Master Jiraiya.
Now, what I will tell you about that, I'm trying to get that person who's messing with the computer sent to jail over all the time that they've wasted of mine. That's 10 years in prison. Multiple counts of it. So. Seeing it happen again. I just want to listen to the piano song. Now tell me, what reason would this person have for turning off a piano song that I've written? It's not that the video isn't loaded. So, I'm trying to get that person sent to jail. actually. I don't know what this person's problems is, or their problems are, but it's really actually kind of annoying, you know? It's worse than that. They sit here and mess with everything. I called the police over it. We'll wait until the police actually do the right thing. But I wrote this song too. Oh wait, I actually want to hear this song, right? We're having trouble playing this video. That shouldn't happen. So can we download it? How long would the download take? And right now I'm not showing my face on the camera because that person is sitting here messing with it again. I don't know who it is. I need a restraining order. Oh, did it download? Oh, cool. We can actually listen to it this time. Nice. But yeah, I already requested a restraining order on it. Whoever the person is, I know it's another person. The computer is supposed to function correctly. But here, just for a second, while we're listening to the piano song, I'll pull up the charges for computer intrusion. 1 second. Charges and sentence. Sentencing time. Unauthorized attempt to bypass. See here, a few months in local jail, up to 20 years in federal prison, depending on the severity of the damage, intent, stolen data, offenses are prosecuted under laws of Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA 18 USC 1030. So, first offense, misdemeanor, 1 year in prison. Second, felony damages, which I would say this person has been here for a long time, so most likely it's aggravated and repeated offenses here. I want them nowhere near me, to be honest with you. And I know someone's sitting there doing that over and over again. But here's a jail time you get for it, just to point it out. Now let's watch the piano video. I'll pause the piano. Look, I can pause the video myself, right? So whoever's been in the computer has been messing with it for a long time. And I got the FBI involved. I called, tipped 3 times, filed color of law because it was an officer of law enforcement doing it. And the person still persists to think they can continue to do it. Now, this is no special circumstance. I haven't committed a crime. I've never done anything wrong in my life. And here are the penalties for it. So, aggravated repeat offenses is what it would be classified on, or classified under. There are penalties from the state, fines, as well as this is my art and career. You know, the difference between, a regular Twitch account and one that's partnered or any other circumstances that I can actually make money from this, from Twitch. I have a subscribe button. I have a subscribe button. I have just as much artistic merit as anyone else on the platform, and I'm free to do whatever I'd like to as long as I'm not breaking terms of service, which I don't. And for over 10 years now, I've been on the platform. But I'll just show you that I myself have a subscribe button. Is that interesting? They gave it to me. I'm affiliated. I also do other work. I'm into art and film, so it's something that I pursue in my lifetime. I don't need another person sitting here wasting my time whenever they feel like. So I called the cops. Cops refused to contact me. They refused to do the right thing. I even called the FBI office about it. So I'm under the understanding that that's a person of law enforcement that thinks it's okay to do that. But I just want to reiterate, this is the prison time that you get for it. And to be honest with you, I filed everything federally and correctly. But here's my subscribe button. It's not a joke to me. It really isn't. I spent a lot of time on this channel, and I figured I'd sit down and tell you about it. That being said, if it is a member of law enforcement doing it, which it is, it would be filed under color of law. So now I want this person put in jail. I really do. For violating my rights, for hurting me and wasting my time. Watching me every day as if it's nothing. And to be honest with you, it's a real test of my patience and faith in the world because nothing has been done about it properly. But we're pulling up the color of law violation sentencing time as well, just so I can explain to this person what possibly might happen to you if you don't stop, even though you've already wasted plenty of my time and been here much longer than you should have been. So this is color of law violation. This is what it's classified under if a member of law enforcement deprives you of your rights knowingly and willingly. And this would be classified under freedom of press, freedom of speech, unlawful search and seizures as well, but maximum of 1 year in prison for basic non-violent offenses. So the fact that this person has seen me struggling as a homeless man and still proceeded to torture me while I'm sleeping on the ground, I would say it's aggravated. To be honest with you, I think it's violent. That being said, the person has seen me completely naked before. The surveillance technology they put into the computer has seen me completely naked before. So that classifies it as sexual abuse too. I didn't want you to see that. You sat there and violated my privacy, who I am, and these are the charges for it. Maximum of 1 year in prison for basic non-violent offenses. I wonder what it's going to be for sexual abuse. And here's the thing, I just don't like my time being wasted. I don't like people who think that they can do whatever they'd like to off of the basis of being a member of law enforcement. So here are the two things. But I've already called, got the FBI involved. FBI didn't want to do anything properly, so just stating this out in public information. This is the computer intrusion penalties. It's a federal penalty. Shouldn't be in my computer to begin with. And here is the violation of color of law, which is the deprivation of my rights, as well as the computer intrusion attached to it, because you have no business being here. You have absolutely no business being here. So that'll be public information, and when I finally send you to jail for wasting my time the way that you have, I'll be justified in it. So don't say that I didn't warn you. Happy 4th of July. Now we can listen to the piano song that I made. Hooray. That being said, I don't want to see anyone go to jail, really, but I stated my boundaries. You violated that. What more can I tell you? No juego, no juegas with these people. I don't play no games with these people. Seriously, at this point. Oh, by the way, it started thunderstorming. I'm gonna go out for a bike ride in the thunderstorm in a bit. Just wanted to reiterate, I was much happier before you did that to me again. And you've also hurt me with this before. know what's cool about that? That I still have the same wrist ties. But you know what's better. But being at the mercy of someone else through my technology, because I'm on my computer all the time. I do all of my work all the time on my computer, which I'm on all the time. My writing, my work, film, art, painting, everything. Being at the mercy of another person is never anything that I would ever want to be. That, and I'm not your captive either. What's interesting about this is that if they don't do anything properly with what's been filed, then it'll be resubmitted again after administration is gone. Current administration won't respect the federal law, even it seems. Then, right? And what's interesting about that, I'm gonna download that on so we can hear it. I believe that justifies it. But what's interesting about this is that when a young person as well informed as me is met with an obstacle and me knowing that it's wrong, right? Me knowing the difference between right and wrong and being met with an obstacle that doesn't seem to want to stop as a product of the nature of another person. That makes me want to find out why that person is like that, right? But albeit I've done nothing wrong. And what is the purpose of trying to restrict someone's piano video? You ever think about that? How backhanded and narcissistic it is to do that kind of thing? So, with that being said, there's a lot that can be said, even in terms of that. I'm gonna just wait for this to download. Because believe me, I've read a few books 4. I know a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of things from New York to Boston, buddy. Not much you can get past me. So, isn't it interesting at that point in time? Because I do my academic writing, right? And being able to mitigate that form of restrictionary sense, which is what I was referring to earlier about how that solutionary mindset of access to wealth, it doesn't attribute to what a person is at the end of the day. You think because I have less than you can do whatever you want to. But believe you me, you can't. And you'd be a hypocrite at the end of the day. Because you didn't do the work. And if you did, it would be wrong to do what you had done to me in the first place. Which you have been doing. That being said, the computer has seen me completely naked. Not on stream, of course. Not on Twitch TV /Viscasa with the subscribe button. You've never seen me naked there, because that would be a terms of service violation. And I like my Twitch account. Been working on it for 10 years. But whoever's been in the computer already has violated me in that way. To be honest with you, I just want them gone out of my life. They have not helped at all. They've watched me suffer as a homeless man for over a year, over 2 years, most likely. And what a good judge of character I am to tell you to leave, right? People act as if they're entitled to whatever they'd like to. That isn't the way that it works with me. I have my boundaries. Whoever it is, they've even witnessed me sit down and punch myself in the face over it. And they chose to keep doing what they were doing rather than leave and stop after federal charges were filed. And that is what I will tell you about it. I sat there for a minute. Okay, you want to hurt me? There you go. Right, now I'm hurt. Why are you sitting there watching it and not helping? Right? Just such an interesting thing. You should be fired for your job, and also you should go to prison. You should. Leave me alone. And, you know, with that being said, that's a little bit more serious than discussion about a popsicle. But all around the world, people like those popsicles, right? Name one person who doesn't like the popsicle cylinder mechanism, okay? That delivers frozen ice to your eating enjoyment. Little less serious than 10 years in prison for aggravated sexual abuse through sexual voyeurism of a computer camera, right? Let's just talk about the popsicle. Hey, and it kind of looks like a lightsaber, right? I don't know what you're doing, watching me all the time you have. Innuendo intended. And in comparison, yeah, I don't even like to be called, you know, more intelligent than other people, but you know what I mean? That off of a direct comparison, it's better to see people as completely equal and for what they have and what they offer to the world instead of having some comparison within mindset. But it's actually disgusting to deal with an aggressive dude all the time through the But that being said, I do murals, street art, painting, I play the piano, I know 3 different languages, and everything that an EMT and doctor can do. Is that interesting? I really don't like when people just think they can waste my time. And that's not the only thing they've done. It's violating. Figured I'd say something about it. There's other stuff here too. Since TikTok, I only wanted to knock out some, knock them out. Okay. Oh, what do you know, guys? You want to persuade? Oh, what? Oh, this is the loot one? Leonardo Green Angel. Leonardo Green Angel. What? Stop. Okay. Leonardo Green Angel. An angel. the view. Give me your stop, dude. That's horrible, man. Put him in there. Drop the body. Put him in the haystack. Needle in the haystack. Needle. Yep. I like how they run around playing music and stuff. La da dee. La da doo. La da dum. La da dee. What's interesting about this is that for as long as I've been doing streaming and making videos and things like that, only now has it been so integrated into my life because I take it seriously as an art form. So some of the things that I will say in my videos that I make are actual jokes and or thoughts that I've had prior and then I've set up so that I can present them in a certain way. Oh, you guys didn't even witness that. You couldn't hear that? Yeah. Like, the whole Leonardo da Vinci Green Angel with the veal in green is, it's one of my favorite paintings. So if you think about it, that was prior to me recording this. It's playing music. And it's writing. And I also have my fiction novel and my academic research. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is art. People put time into it. It should be respected for what it is. And streaming as an art form is also the most integrated form of technology at that pressing state in society, which I referenced earlier. It's the information age. And people have their voice. More good news. What's with these guys? Do 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 do. Oh, here come these guys. Yep, see, this is why. Now it's raining. It's raining outside. Everything I do is stealth now. You know how like bandwagon, like name 5 bands. Okay. Name 5 things that you know about this band. Name 5. Oh, yeah, really? You like them? Name 5 of their songs. Okay. But what if it's like stealth stuff? Oh, your stealth now? Show me your thumbtack trap. Show me. Oh, your stealth now? These guys are music. Some big. I don't know. Right. You're like musicians. What's going on here? What's up, guys? Oh, your stealth. There's a whole other video in your record over Salvador Dali and the woman with the pearl earring being 2 different movies, but I think I'll just talk about it now. So, Johannes Vermeer is a French painter, like Claude Monet or Van Gogh, but Johannes Vermeer is before them. So Vermeer painted things like the astronomer and geographer, which are interpretations of Raphael's the School of Athens. So I'll show you. We'll start with Raphael, and here's where it starts historically, chronologically. So Raphael is a painter from Rome. And this is more common. He has other paintings, but this is the School of Athens. It's a fresco. The fresco style of painting is something that Michelangelo taught, the maestro taught to his disciples and students so that they could know how to paint and to make something as good as Michelangelo could. That being said, this is what I'm referencing. This is a fresco by Raphael. In the center is a depiction of Leonardo da Vinci holding his finger up. This is Leonardo and many other artists depicted within the frame. Even Raphael is in the painting. He's peeking his head out on the right, looking directly at the frame. You can see his face shape, and this will relate to Johannes Vermeer in a second here. But this is Michelangelo and Leonardo in Raphael's School of Athens. That being said, these are depictions of different philosophers, Socrates, legends, the state of the world at that point in time that Raphael was trying to capture that in the democratic and Socratic process, because this is how the government functioned in Rome. And at that point, they're attributing their artistic skills to something past the point of understanding just due to, and here's St. Matthew over here in the corner, but they're attributing artistic skill to something past the point of that understanding of just being a government, because they're philosophers and artists at the end of the day. But you can see Raphael's head pointing, peeking out here in the side. And there's someone carrying a globe and a celestial sphere. Now, Johannes Vermeer, which it kind of rhymes, right, is a painter from France who painted the geographer and the astronomer. And these paintings are depictions of someone doing a map or someone mapping the stars. Now, these two paintings are almost exactly the same, but explore different premises. The astronomer is in a different hue and color than the geographer because they're studying two different things. Now, they're both depictions of Vermeer himself as an academic scholar and researcher, but this is art from that time period afterwards that references Raphael's painting here, Raphael's fresco, the School of Athens. And I'll just keep my face over here just so I know what I look like. But here he is peeking out from the side. And you see he looks just like the picture of him. The two people on the globe and social sphere. Look at the way his face peeking out on the side. This reflects Johannes Vermeer in its aspects and reference in history, because this is person mapping the stars, just as the celestial sphere is held, and this is person mapping the world, the globe, with it behind it. And you can see that there's a blank behind it. So you know to try and get the thing of it. It's almost exactly the same, in the same way that they're not in the School of Athens. So now you can see these two depictions from a reference from Raphael's painting. Now, if we pull up the woman in the pearl earring, the woman with the pearl earring is positioned the exact same way that Raphael, his head is depicted in the School of Athens too. Same positioning. See how he's looking in the same way? You can see the one-to-one comparison. It's a very interesting premise. And what I wanted to bring up about it is that Salvador Dali, another painter from Spain who has done great works of art, painted the persistence of memory, which is melting clocks over the same color scheme that Johannes Vermeer painted the woman with the pearl ear from. You can see it's blue and yellow. It's in a different depiction, right? But they reference one another in some way. Now, what the woman in the pearl earring is in antiquity is actually this movie, is The Swan. The movie The Swan Lake. And you understand it's not only ballet, but it's a depiction of piece of film, too. This painting is integrated into the concepts explored in this movie, too. And you can see why. She even, in this scene, she even turns her head in the same way. And you can see it.
Your late this morning?
Forgive me, Your Highness. To speak the truth, I suppose Your Highness would be busy this morning.
Busy?
With the visit of His Royal Highness. I thought there would be no more fencing lessons. For the next few days, at all events. What I meant, Your Highness.
Should the lessons be discontinued at any time, you will be notified.
Yes, sir.
It's a very interesting thing when you add in film to be a reference or even use this reference for different things. So, in terms of that understanding, Edward Hopper was a painter from the 1940s, I believe. He painted the Automat and Nighthawks. So what Nighthawks is essentially a painting from 1942 that depicts America as a standpoint in loneliness. And it's also a depiction of a painting that was coming out at the same time that film was being developed in the modern world, because movies were around at that time and had only become a large thing due to the cinema and other things that people would do in their time and frame of thinking in the US. So during the 1940s, painters and artists actually oriented themselves around concepts contemporary to the time that were elicited and understanding in the time period. And you can see it's a modern diner, the malt milkshake, breakfast eggs diner that is so prevalent these day and age as American food. Pancakes, bacon, breakfast eggs, and hash brown. You know, and you can see that in a lot of ways in many restaurants across America. Same thing with the cheeseburger, right? It's American people. So is this painting. So going into the premise of the idea of Nighthawks, there's also a portion of thinking that it was due to film and its development that things like Casablanca came out in the same way. And it's film noir. And at this point in time, Edward Hopper's paintings weren't called noir in the time period because the term wasn't invented for it. The term noir for these kinds of things was not invented, and only until historically observing it was there an actual term for it. But this would be called film noir, detective noir, or film noir, and it's
Play solo.
It's exactly what it is. It's, you know, hat and briefcase, suit and tie, a 1940s depiction of a film
After work.
in the 1950s or 60s.
At your own pace. No stress. World of Warship.
But Casablanca is from 1942 as well.
Is naval combat with...
As well as this painting is. So if you can think about the direct connection to this painting and this film that was developed in the time period, you can see that they go hand in hand in the time period.
Pressure. You command legendary warships and battle alien...
And it's a cultural staple, too. And these things have progressed over time, and, you know, Inspector Gadget.
Let man go with Mr. Laszlo and take care of his luggage.
Certainly, Rick. Anything you say. Find Mr. Laszlo's luggage and put it on the plane.
Yes, sir.
This way, please.
If you don't mind, you fill in the names. That'll make it even more official.
You think of everything, don't you?
And the names are Mr. and Mrs. Victor Laszlo.
But why my name, Richard?
Because you're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you? Last night
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no one.
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here?
Yeah, See, that's the whole like trope. Yeah, see, you're do you even know what you have to look forward
9
to?
chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris. We didn't have, we lost it until you came to Casablanca. We got it back.
But I love this movie because it's very good and it's a classic, but there are other things that have to do with this premise too. So I'm going to get into another interview with Salvador Dali where I'm going to just tell you what my issues were with it and the observations of the time period because Salvador Dali was also around during the time of Edward Hopper, Magritte, Monet, so on and so forth.
Last night.
When I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of. Ilsa, I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of three little...
And I've made this joke before, but what was up with 1940s villains though? What was up with that? Like there's no forensics, they could just get away with everything, you know? And it was the Sugar Spice Gang who robbed this bank, and you'll never find us.
people don't amount to a
And they're always speeding off in a jalopy. You'll never catch us, Papa.
hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll understand that. Now. He's looking at you, kid.
Now we have modern forensics. So, a hair follicle, a cell tower ping, your phone being on when Wi-Fi is on, tracking mechanisms, everything within the computer, every function, all of it can be traced. Every inch, nook and cranny of DNA in a room. So I don't know, what that person was trying to get away with before, but it can be tracked. So that being said, I'm going to get into this interview with Salvador Dali, where the interviewer doesn't understand Salvador Dali's artwork, and due to there being a language barrier and sort of the time period being, and they sort of draw parallels to each other, even these two paintings, but due to the observations of a language barrier, the perception of Salvador Dali was never perceived correctly in the time period. And if you go and research it, the man was truly very smart. He just couldn't speak English well enough to explain it. And part of that is also to promote a social discrepancy for it. He didn't want to, you know? He wanted to integrate cross-cultural mechanisms into questions being promoted by his artwork at the end of the day. And this is a Salvador Dali painting. We'll just wait for it to come up. With that being said, Zorro, the Cape Crusader, is a Mexican superhero, but he's also Batman. Here, I'll pull it up. Zorro is essentially Batman, but in Mexico. And he also fences in the same way that the Swan Alexandria does. So you can see the parallels between Salvador Dali's painting because Zorro looks like Salvador Dali, and Johannes Vermeer, the woman with the pearl earring. It's kind of the same thing.
Would you care to try something more robust, or do you feel unequal to the task?
On the contrary, then I have. But Zorro is Spanish Batman in a lot of ways. Actually, I think Zorro is cooler than Batman, actually. So.
Only of your distasteful aspiration.
Maestro?
But it's the film trope, actually. Well, a film idea that the ideology of a Cape Crusader, a dark Cape Crusader, is also a depiction of death. Death always has a dark cloak and a scythe and everything like that because it's a depiction of death. It's dark. And Dali explains it in another interview. Well, in this interview, I'm about to show you. Anyways, this is a depiction of the woman with the earring here on screen. But is that Zorro is also a depiction of death as well. But in a good way, right? And Zorro doesn't kill people in the same way Batman doesn't. What he does is he leaves the Z. He cuts the Z into people. And he says that's what you get for messing with me. I'm Zorro.
Could you use up to $800? Find it at BioLife. Up to $800 waiting for you.
It's very Magnum PI Knight Rider, just because it's old television. But
when daggers are pointed at innocent hearts and muskets are ready to fire, where tyrants ride high and govern with fear, the forces of evil conspire. Muskets are ready.
It's also very Pokemon to protect the world from devastation.
Fire, where tyrants ride high and govern with fear, the forces of evil conspire.
Anyways, this is the reference I want to point out with Zorro, is that he is very Zorro is very Cape Crusader. He also fences in the same way that this one Alexandria does. So I'll just take a brief screenshot. Now I will pull up Salvador Dali's interview. And what I will tell you about this is that it looks just like Zorro. Because at the end of the day, Salvador Dali is a Spanish superhero too.
It's no, myself believe it's very frequent, but the other people told me it's very exceptional.
The entire portion of the observation of this being for a cigarette ad, but Salvador Dali was into holistic health is interesting to me too.
Good evening. Tonight, we go after the story of an extraordinary personality. He's Salvador Dali, the great surrealist painter who sees the world through surrealist eyes. If you're curious to hear Salvador Dali talk about decadence, death, and immortality, about his surrealist art, his politics, and his existence before he was born, we'll go after those stories.
What's interesting about it is that the interviewer, due to the language barrier, actually treated him less than what he actually is, which is a very talented scientist and painter at the end of the day.
Einstein discovered this is the symbol of justice.
As I mentioned, once with your head enclosed in a diving helmet and you almost suffocated.
That, and he took inspiration from Diego Velázquez as well as Leonardo da Vinci.
You issue bizarre statements about your love for rhinoceros horns and so on. You're a dedicated artist. Why do you, or why must you, do these things?
Because this kind of eccentricities correspond to the more important and the more tragical part of my life.
The more important and the more tragical part? I don't understand.
The more philosophical.
What is philosophical about driving in a car full of cauliflowers or lecturing inside a bank?
What's interesting about that is that cauliflower is now an alternative to chicken. It's an alternative to meat. Cauliflower is. So you can tell why he's driving around with cauliflower in his car, because he hopes to make a difference with his art, at least socioeconomically, maybe in justification in comparison to other countries too.
Make one tremendous speech, almost pseudoscientific, in the Sorbonne in Paris about my discovering of the logarithmic curve of cauliflowers.
The logarithmic curve of cauliflower growth rate.
Logarithmic spiral of
yes.
cauliflower.
The logarithmic curve, yes.
And in the same time, the logarithmic spiral in the horn of rhinoceros. And this time more dramatic, because chastity represents
On the air, you said to me, ask embarrassing questions. Ask embarrassing
I
questions.
am more as possible.
Why?
Why? Because student make one movie in France.
Yeah.
In this movie, myself dance Charleston, and my friends look this piece of movie and told Dali in this part is much better than Charlie Chaplin. For me, it's very interesting.
Well, are you about...
Because Dali is one marvelous painter.
Dali is one marvelous painter. Dali es the fantastico artiste.
Look this piece of movie and told Dali in this part is much better than Charlie Chaplin. For me, it's very interesting.
Well, are you about...
Because Dali
En artiste, en arte, en el mundo, en mi alma, y la luna rosa.
is one marvelous painter.
Mi Dios, mi manos de Dios.
In the same time, is one marvelous clown. Is 1,000 times much more interesting for everybody.
You want to be a marvelous clown as well as a...
But I also really like her just as he's a marvelous painter. I think that's so interesting.
I like to spread complete confusion.
In this movie, myself dance Charleston, and my friends.
But what he's talking about is that the ability to bring people together through art, comedy, and also his ideas in a contemporary social theory, because people would most likely laugh at the way he talks and not fully understand that the man was as smart as he was.
This piece of movie and told Dali in this part is much better than Charlie Chaplin. For me, it's very interesting.
Well, are you about...
Because Dali is one marvelous painter.
One marvelous painter.
In the same time, is one marvelous clown. Is 1,000 times much more interesting for everybody.
You want to be a marvelous...
Want to know what's cool about this too? Here's the persistence in memory. He's also painted more, but we'll just reference this because it has ties to something I'm going to talk about later. But before it, he's also Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas. And not a lot of people know this reference, but Caesar's Legion in Fallout New Vegas is also a reference to Leonardo. So Salvador Dali and Leonardo are essentially both in Fallout New Vegas in some way. Because the ruler over Leonardo's work when he was younger was Caesar. Roman history. Oh, wait.
By 2065, I deemed it a mathematical certainty that an unjustified war would devastate the Earth within 15 years. Every projection I ran confirmed it.
Look just like I ran.
Clown as well as a marvelous painter?
If it's possible, the two together is very good, you know. Charlie Chaplin is one genial clown, but never paint the same que Dali. Or see Dali.
So what you want to do
the
is...
same que Charlie Chaplin, in the same time, paint masterpieces, or Dali is 1,000 times much more important than Charlie Chaplin.
Well, now wait. Despite your hijinks, time and again you have called yourself a genius, and you're serious about this. Now you want to be evidently...
The man actually was a genius.
You want to be a genius in two fields. First of all, you have called yourself a genius.
In many different fields, you know.
You?
Yes.
What else besides an artist?
The more important in my life, more que le clown, more que le painting, more que my draftsmanship is my personality.
Draftsmanship?
My personality is...
So around this time, there was also observations of nuclear physics and the atomic bomb being developed. And you can see in the painting how clocks are melting how things seem to be so post-apocalyptic, even though it's a dreamscape, an observation of memory, where you can feel as though memory slips from you over time. Of course, there's that perception of it, but during the time period that he's painting it, there's also the observation of the atomic bomb being created.
Important that every of these little facets of my activity.
In other words, what is most important to you
is my
is expressing Dali, not the painting, not the clowning, nothing but
the painting, the clowning, the showmanship, the everything is only one manner to express the total personality of Dali.
I see. Let's take a look at one of your major paintings, Dali. It's called Sleep. There it is.
In this painting, he depicts his subconscious.
Now on the monitor.
I'll just wait for it here.
What's the point of this picture? Is there any point?
This is very important because myself work constantly in the moment of sleep. Every of my best ideas coming through my dreams, and the more Dalinian activity consists in this moment of sleep.
In other words, you conceive a good deal of your...
The more important things happen in the moment of my sleep.
I was going to ask if there was a major theme, a powerful idea which inspires all your work. Could you tell us what it was? Evidently, what it is simply an expression of Dali, period. There's nothing more, or am I wrong?
No, the idea of cosmogony.
What?
The cosmogony.
Cosmogony?
Cosmogony of Dali.
What is the cosmogony? What does that mean?
This is in advance of new nuclear physics.
New nuclear physics is what he's talking about.
Because every of my paintings, everybody laughed in the moment of look for the first time, but almost after 12 years, every scientific people recognize every of this painting as one real prophecy.
And what's interesting about this is that it's also an observation of how long, because of the atomic bomb, how long will things still be here before then? Almost like a doomsday clock. You hear a lot about doomsday clock, right? Well, imagine that's a depiction of the persistence of memory from Salvador Dali at the time, because nuclear war is something that humanity chooses to avoid.
In the moment of paint my soul watches, it is the more rigid object for everybody, and myself paint his watches, the same very soft camembert. Everybody laughs. The last development of nuclear physics proved that a new conception of space-time is completely flexible. Not only this, in the microphysics, the time but in reverse. This proves that this object of completely surrealistic approach of the watches is completely true and scientific.
Dali, I must confess.
Completely true and scientific. And here this interview sits here and sort of is kind of racist towards him. Not in the ways that you think, but...
You lost me about halfway through, and I'm not sure that we can... Let me try another way.
Just due to it being an observation of the time period.
What does a painter, what does any painter contribute to the world and to his fellow men? Any painter, not just Dali. What does a painter contribute?
Every painter paints the cosmogony of himself.
Of himself. And it's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Which contemporary...
Raphael paints the cosmogony of Raphael. Raphael is the...
Here he is referencing Raphael, which is a direct reference to known as Vermeer too.
Period,
yes.
Dali painted the atomic age and the Freudian age, nuclear things and psychoanalytic things.
And what Dali chose to explore with his paintings was modern sexuality at the time, which is a Freudian psychological premise that was coming out at that current time period, that and the atomic arch, as we call it, the frame of time it will take humanity to end itself from the atomic bomb.
Which contemporary painters, if any, do you admire?
First Dali, after Dali, Picasso, and after this, Leonardo.
But these, Dali and Picasso, are the only two that really...
The two really big geniuses of modern times.
The two geniuses of modern times are Dali and Picasso. In your autobiography, you wrote this. You said, I adore three things. Weakness, old age, and luxury. What?
Because the luxury is one product of monarchy. And myself, every day, becoming more monarchy. Not in political way, because never is interested in politics, but in philosophical and cosmological way, yes. Because in the modern science, the new discoveries of chromosomes and physics and biology, everything prove that the monarchy is the more luxurious things in life.
Not luxurious. Now, old age. And old age, why do you adore old age?
Because basically young people is completely stupid, you know?
Young people are stupid.
It's only necessary, only believe some old people, the same Leonardo da Vinci, or It's only necessary, only believe some all people, the same Leonardo da Vinci, or arrive at some real achievement.
And weakness. Why do you adore weakness?
Because in the modern physics, everything is weak. You know, it's everything, every proton, antiproton, neutron, meson, surrounded of weakness, of nothing. In this moment, the most fantastic thing in physics is the antimatter. Every new physician talks, the most fantastic thing in physics is the antimatter. Every new physician talk about antimatter. Dali painted 20 years ago the first antimatter angels.
You write in your biography that death is beautiful. What's...
And here's the premise of death being explored, and I'll bring this whole interview to a close with something that he says here in relation to something that was more contemporary over a time period.
Beautiful about death. Why is death beautiful?
Why is death beautiful? Right? Well, the Cape Crusader in Zorro and those other depictions in film, that is definite and depicted in a different light. And here's his answer on it.
20 years ago, the first antimatter angels.
You write in your biography that death is beautiful. What's beautiful about death? Why is death beautiful?
This is one feeling. Everything is erotic, in my opinion.
Everything
is erotic.
Erotic.
It's ugly. Immediately, so arrive the feeling of death. Everything becoming noble.
So the process of having a feeling or a thought and having it go through your mind or your body, or you feeling something is that of an ugly process, but also who you are, and a feeling, and as a result of the feeling of death, and that's why it says that it's beautiful, because things come and go and pass, in the same way that the persistence of memory depicts memory leaving.
And sublime.
Oh, in other words, life is erotic and therefore ugly. Death is not erotic, but sublime, therefore beautiful.
And beautiful. You know, for instance, you, Mickey Ballard, now is you.
Therefore, it's a beautiful thing.
A little good face, a little handsome, but incidentally, you becoming about antimatter. Dali painted 20 years ago, the first antimatter angels.
You write in your biography.
I just think it's interesting. At the same time, this was also in his mind, which is Oppenheimer, I Am Become Death, Destroyer of Worlds. Most people just go to see the movie, oh, it's about the atomic bomb, you need to look about it. Well, truthfully, it was a contemporary idea and concept at the time period. The reason why it's important is that Salvador Dali was not for the atomic bomb. He himself was a scientist and painter himself.
The death is beautiful. What's beautiful about death? Why is death?
But what Oppenheimer references here is a brief anecdote from a Hindu proverb, and it's about God as well.
The world not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade
Vishnu, God, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, Mary, Muhammad.
He should do his duty and impress him.
Dios.
Takes on his multi-armed form and says, now I become death, the destroyer of worlds. I become death, the destroyer of worlds. I suppose we all have that when we have takes on human form and says, now I become death, the destroyer of worlds.
This is one feeling. Everything is erotic, in my opinion.
Everything
is erotic.
Erotic.
It's ugly. Immediately, so arrive the feeling of death. Everything becoming noble and sublime.
Oh,
everything is erotic, in my opinion.
Everything is what?
Is erotic.
Erotic.
It's ugly. Immediately, so arrive the feeling of death. Everything becoming noble and sublime.
Oh, in other words, life is erotic and therefore ugly. Death is not erotic, but sublime, therefore beautiful.
And beautiful. You know, for instance, you, Mickey Ballas, now is you, a little good face, a little handsome, but incidentally, you becoming dead.
Yeah.
Everybody take out the chapeau. You're becoming one fantastic man. Everybody
Dali es un marveloso artiste,
respect you 1,000 times much better, you know.
one marvelous painter. And I believe that's really truly what he wanted to be portrayed. Even in this interview, it's something that would take more time to explain without examples. And that's why we have technology, right?
Are you making?
And he even said himself, just as Oppenheimer did, becoming deaf, right?
Good face,
Which is control as well, if you think about it.
a little handsome, but incidentally, you're becoming dead.
Yeah.
Everybody take out the chapeau. You're becoming one fantastic man. Everybody respect you 1,000 times much better, you know.
Are you making?
Is
this by way of a suggestion, sir?
Exactly. you make one striptease, you're becoming ugly in 1 second.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Tell me this, what do you think will happen to you when...
But there are other things that I like, and I like to paint. I'm a people person more often than not. But I'm going to go get some food. I just thought I'd share that with you. Have a good day.